Amy, thank you so much. This is such an honor. I'm so happy to be able to chat with you all about course creation in the beauty industry.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Yay. I kind of was chatting with Amy about this like earlier in the past, but like I didn't really tell you this directly. So I'll just, before I get into like asking you all the questions, because you're the expert here, I'm interviewing you. I just wanted to quickly kind of tell you how you changed my life with course creation because
Tell me all about it.
it's such a fun story. And I guess for you, it's kind of cool to be able to hear from your students too.
Sure.
Just I think 3 or 4 years ago, I was just thinking about creating a course. I made a little mini course. I made like less than $1,000 with it. It was kind of disappointing. And I know you yourself talk about how you had like kind of like a failed course launch under your belt and that kind of thing. But I kept going. And when I saw that your program Digital Course Academy was open, I joined it immediately. Like I was like right on it. I followed it to a T. And from there, I went from an $8,000 launch to a $38,000 launch to an $82,000 launch. And then in January, this past January, I put my course on Evergreen. And I moved to Italy as well. I moved to Italy last week, which is kind of crazy to say. And my course has made it so that we can move to Italy because I'm right now making about like $20,000 to $25,000 a month with an evergreen course that is just on autopilot, which is like the dream, right? And it's because of you. It's because of Digital Course Academy, and I just cannot thank you enough for just changing my life. It's literally, I'm like looking out the window, I'm looking at the mountains, I'm looking at this like beautiful Italian village, and if I hadn't had this course that's doing the way that it is, I don't think that I would be here. I don't know what I would do for work. Like it's life changing.
Wow, it's such an amazing story. I had no idea you had that much success through those different launches.
Yeah.
And also, one thing you told me right before we jumped on is that you were in Italy looking at these ruins and in this like beautiful place, and you looked down and you had another sale.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that I live for my students because you get to have this amazing life that you've built and you've done it through just making sure that you put your head down, got the work done, and
Oh
got your
yeah.
course out to the world. And it's a beautiful thing. So congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. I want to put the focus back on you. So let's talk about you and, a little bit about yourself for anyone who doesn't know you and how you help business owners.
Okay, so I always say I'm an ex-corporate girl turned accidental entrepreneur because I never really thought I'd be my own boss and have my own business. But 13, almost 14 years later, here we are. And basically, I was in corporate for a long time. I worked for Tony Robbins and director of content development. Got to travel the world with Tony, work on the content that he does on stage. So anyone who knows Tony Robbins, they know Unleash the Power Within, Date with Destiny. Those are two events that I worked on. But while I was there, Tony started to get more into online marketing and digital courses. And I thought, I want to do that, but I want to be my own boss. I had this like huge desire to call the shots and work when I wanted to work, how I wanted to work, where I wanted to work. You're a perfect example of that. And so I finally realized I got to go out on my own and try this. So I did. It took me about a year to get the courage to take the leap, to leave my 9 to 5 job and start my own thing. And when I started in my own online business, I was doing social media for small businesses. And about 2 years in, I realized I've just built a business I hate. I don't like doing one on one work. I don't like having a lot of clients. I knew there was only so much money I could make when there was one of me and I was working one on one. And so I thought there's got to be a different way. And that's when I really got serious about digital courses. And I had a few misses in the beginning, like you said, with yours.
Yeah.
I too had a huge miss where I made $267 with my first digital course launch. The embarrassing thing is the product was $297, but I only sold a few units. And by the time you take out expenses, I didn't even make enough for one unit. But I learned a lot. I was devastated. I looked around and thought, everyone else is making so much money online. What is my problem? Like maybe I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I can't do this. But my husband's like, what are we going to do? Grovel back for your job? Like, let's get it together. Let's
Yeah.
keep moving forward. So I did, and fast forward 13 years, and now I have a multi-million dollar business where I create my own digital courses to teach online marketing, but I also teach others how to take their expertise and turn that into a digital course so they can have the freedom that I so dearly wanted many years ago.
Yeah, and you have served students in all different industry. I remember when I joined Digital Course Academy, like some of the course ideas were crazy. One of them was like he wanted to teach people how to lose weight while they're at Disneyland. Like I know that you've had students from all different niches and a lot of students in the beauty industry as well. Can you tell us maybe like a success story or some like examples of some of the students you've had who are beauty professionals or in this industry?
Yes, one of my favorites is Abby. And Abby, she worked behind the chair, full-time hairstylist, as well as a salon owner. So incredibly busy. But what was happening is she realized I am never with my family. I just am never with my family. I need more time. So what she decided to do was create a digital course based on something that all of the other stylists always asked her how she did it, and it was balayage. She's really good at it. It was a technique that she had mastered, and other stylists wanted to know her techniques. So she thought, okay, I'm going to create a course. She called the course the Build with Balayage Academy. And in the beginning, because she had never launched a course before, never marketed online like she would with the course, she thought, I'm going to take a baby step. So she did a little workshop and she got 10 stylists to say, teach me what you know. So she made $2,000 right away. And she thought, I want to make more than $2,000, but gives me a little confidence to try again. So she launched the same course again. The next time she had 36 students in the course, made $17,000. And then she launched it again and she had 54 students in her
Wow.
course and made $28,000. That's a lot of money for a stylist who's on her feet every single day and running a busy salon. So here's the beautiful thing about this. Now she is just behind the chair 2 to 3 times a week, and she's able to supplement her income with her digital course. So it's not like she didn't want to be a stylist. It's just that she wanted some more freedom and she wanted to find a way that she wasn't always go, 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 one-on-one with clients because there's only so much money you can make. So Abby is one of my favorite stories.
Abby is amazing. I actually know Abby. She's gone to like my events and like I've done some stuff for her students too. She's amazing. Do you know of any of your other students, maybe not like their whole story, but like different things that they've taught, maybe like the topics that they've taught in the beauty industry?
Yes. So a lot of times, some of my students will teach actual techniques like balayage for other stylists. Some of my students in the beauty industry will actually teach their clients. So whether it be makeup application or anything with, I had one student who helped with hair growth and how to help healthy hair for all the people that are sitting in their chair saying, "What do I do? I need
Yeah.
help." So you can teach your actual clients or teach other fellow stylists. I'm thinking of one of my other students. Her name is Gina, and she has been a stylist for 25 years. So the girl knows her stuff, but
Yeah.
she's also tired. Like that's a long time to be a
Oh,
stylist.
yeah.
One of the things she was really good at is getting high paying clientele. And that's something that, again, other stylists are like, how are you doing this? Like, how do you set your business up like this? And so she decided to create a course to teach other stylists how to get the high paying clients. What do you need to do? How do you need to message them? What does your business need to look like? And so the first time she went out, she made over $11,000. And $11,000 is a lot of money when you think about working one on one with clients and how many clients you
Oh,
need,
yeah.
right? And so, yeah, there's so many different topics that you can teach in the beauty industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw when I was looking at like some of the stats about Digital Course Academy, I saw you've had like in all the courses that you've taught like more than 45,000 students. So
Yeah.
you've seen a lot of things come and
Oh,
go.
so many different topics. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
and
really
and so many different like ways to have a course. So that's one thing that I wanted to ask you about is like for example, Abby, when she first started out, she just did like a small like workshop course. So it was just kind of like a side thing while she was also working behind the chair. For someone who's like not ready to go full into online courses yet, and they're just like, I still want to like see clients, like I still want to do lashes or brows or hair, etc. What's a good way to kind of test the waters and maybe do a little bit of like part-time teaching? Like what are some ways to kind of like start into it?
Okay, I love this question because when you think about creating a digital course, number one, it doesn't need to be your whole business. Like you said, it could be something on the side. I call
Yeah.
it the side hustle. And it could be something that you do in addition to being behind the chair, which is what a lot of stylists do. And so that's the first thing. Number two, I want you to think about it in terms of you do not need to have a course that's like your full legacy, everything you've ever known, everything you do. No, it could be something as simple as Abby and one technique that she did really well. So don't think that it needs to be some huge dramatic type of transformational course. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I teach digital courses, I teach three different types of courses: a starter course, a spotlight course, and a signature course. So a starter course is like you're creating something that's really quick. People can get through it likely in a weekend, and you're just getting them started in the right direction. And usually you charge anywhere from $100 to $200 for a starter course. And then you've got a spotlight course where you take one area of your expertise, like Abby did, and you go deep into just that one area. And so usually you can charge anywhere from $200 to $500 for a spotlight course because it's really specific and that's appealing to people. And then the third type of course is what I call the Mac Daddy of all courses. It's a signature course. And this is where you are promising a really big transformation. So it takes people longer to get through it. There's more steps and you can charge more, anywhere from like $500 to $3,000. So if you want to have some kind of side hustle digital course while you're doing your full-time job, that's when you want to look into a starter or a spotlight, where
Right.
they're easier to create. You don't have to go way down a rabbit hole in order to get it created, but you can make some great money with it as well.
Yeah, when I first started out, I did a workshop course because I wasn't really sure if it was a topic that people wanted. Because I had kept having people ask me about Facebook ads, like, how do I do Facebook ads to meet clients and stuff? And I was like, ooh, like I've already tried to do a full course that I put so much time and energy into and it didn't work. And so I didn't want to have that happen again. I didn't want to go through that whole thing of like creating this huge course and then it not sell. So what I did is I did a little workshop. Like I literally just like went on Zoom, shared my screen, did like an hour and then sold it. And it was like $25, I think. I probably could have charged more, but like I got a lot of interest and that was a really good indication to me that like, oh, like this is a topic that people are willing to pay for. Is that something
Yeah.
that like you recommend as just kind of like testing out a topic?
I love a workshop course. I teach this to my students for sure, where it's exactly what you said. You take one topic where they're really struggling or a desire they have, they really want to know how to do something. And you say, okay, guys, I'm going to teach this live on this date and time, $25, $50, whatever you want to charge for it. And then you create this in advance. You show up live and you deliver it, but you record it. And so anyone who bought it can get the recording. But now you have a workshop that you can sell every single day from your website. So now you have a product. We call it a mini course, a workshop course.
Yeah.
Great way to kind of ease into it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So that brings me to the next thing I wanted to ask you about, which is like, you know, everybody thinks that like making the course is the hard part, but I actually find the most challenging part is actually selling it and promoting it because like, as they say, like just because you build it doesn't mean that they come. What would you say to someone who, you know, they're a stylist or, you know, say they're an esthetician and they've been building up like an Instagram account with just clients. And so their whole business is just based on like seeing one-to-one clients, like for services. But maybe they've had a lot of estheticians ask them about, you know, how do you do this technique? Or like, how did you build your business or that kind of thing? If they only have clients on their email list and on their Instagram, would you recommend that they like, how does someone start actually getting into like the other side of things, which is like helping other business professionals?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So their Instagram and their email
Yeah.
list is just clients. It's
Yeah.
not other peers.
Exactly.
Got
So like, what would you say to someone who's like, they've built their whole community around clients, but now they actually want to have like a different community of beauty professionals?
Okay, so there's a few ways you can go about it, and I'd love to know your opinion about this as well, since you're in it every single day. But what I've seen from some really successful students of mine who wanted to make that transition is, number one, you've got to start online spending time where your peers are spending time.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be that person that becomes the go-to source. So that means Facebook groups or communities of any kind, or different social media accounts where you're jumping in there, offering
Yeah.
insight, giving value. It's important that you set yourself up as their go-to source. And this is going to take time, but it's
Yeah.
a billion times worth it. So that's the first thing I would do. The second is, I would consider, if I really wanted to go and sell something to my peers, I'd either start talking about that and mixing it in with my current social, or I'd consider a separate account where it's a different
Yeah.
focus and different vibe. That's harder though, because to have two different Instagram accounts is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you can do it, but you can also kind of do it on one. What would you usually say to that?
Yeah, I've seen people do it so many different ways. So mostly what I've seen is that someone, say they're an esthetician, and their whole Instagram is all about skin, and essentially it's all about getting one-to-one like skincare clients.
Yeah.
What they do is then they start kind of mixing in a little bit of like professional things, like, this isn't necessarily for my clients, but for other estheticians. And then as they start building their business that way, their Instagram becomes more and more geared towards the professionals as opposed to the clients. That's how I see it usually happen, is like that slow transition.
And I like it. And I have to tell you, I love the accounts from estheticians that talk about skincare all day long. I eat it up. But if they're talking to, let's say, other estheticians, I'm still very intrigued. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to them? What are you doing behind the scenes? So I don't think you're going to lose all your clients when you start to do that. But I do think it's important that you think, okay, where is my focus? Where do I need to be intentional here?
Yeah.
And we can't be everything to everyone. So figuring out which way you want to go is a really good question to ask yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't, like you said before, like you don't need to go all into it. Like don't feel like you have to like have this huge Instagram account just for professionals. Like you can
Yes.
sprinkle some stuff in and then feel it out and build it that way. It doesn't need to be like an all or nothing kind of thing.
Agree.
And I like that you said before about the Facebook groups, because that's actually how I got started when I didn't even have an Instagram following at all. The Facebook groups, there's so many good Facebook groups out there for like estheticians and hairstylists and lash artists and makeup artists. There's so many good ones. And it's about like giving, 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 and then email. So that was the next thing that I wanted to ask you, is like you
Ooh,
give
yeah.
in these groups, you build up your reputation and all of that, but then you need somewhere to send them. And I know like a huge part of what you teach is email. So can you tell us a little bit about like the importance of email and like how it translates into actually being able to promote and sell a course?
Yes. Okay. So email marketing is an area that most people getting started online, it's like, it's a frustration. It's that thing
Mm-hmm.
that they need to be doing, but they're not doing. And I know this firsthand because for 2 years of growing my own business, I did not focus on email. And that is why, one of the reasons why my first launch was not a huge success, because I really didn't have an email list that was
Mm-hmm.
engaged to market to. So, what I always tell all my students, but this is especially true for those in the beauty industry because Instagram is so big for what you do.
Yeah.
However, you are building a business on rented land because Mark Zuckerberg owns Instagram and Facebook. And at any time, he can decide, boom, I'm going to change that algorithm, which he literally did like a week ago with
Mm-hmm.
Reels. And I have a really good girlfriend who has built so much of her business around running ads to Reels and getting leads that way. And it's like been nothing this week because
What
the
happened about the Reels thing? I didn't see that.
so the Kardashians started to talk about make Instagram again, and they wanted more photos, less video. And the Instagram listened, and they started to play around with the algorithm and came out and publicly said so. So
Oh,
Reels were not taking center stage, and who knows, that could change next week. But
right.
that's the thing. You never know, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
own any of that, so you can't control it. Whereas when you own an email list, the algorithm has nothing to do with it. And when you create a real relationship with that email list, they genuinely look forward to hearing from you. And studies have shown that email marketing converts 4 times better than any social media post when you are engaged with that email list. So I love Instagram. I love social media. I think we need it to grow our businesses. But if you told me, Amy, you've got an email list or an Instagram following, I'd choose that email list all day long because it's going to convert better if you nurture that. So, with that, when you create a digital course and you sell it, if you've been nurturing that email list, I promise you they're more likely to pay attention than any social media
Oh,
post you send
yeah.
versus that email. One of my students, he's a photographer. His name is Rob Green, and he had 100 people on his email list. And he created what I call a spotlight course where he did one topic, flash photography, and he went deep into that topic, sent it out on social and his email to 100 people and made $12,000. He would
Wow.
not have made that kind of money if he didn't also have an email. It wasn't all from his social.
Yeah.
So have both. Start now, grow that email list. Even if it happens slowly, it's essential.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like that has been, I don't love, interestingly enough, even though I teach Facebook and Instagram ads, I actually don't love spending time on Instagram. I don't really do it that much. But email, I never miss a week. I email every single week. And that's because you taught me to like, you taught me the whole strategy behind email. And then for you, I mean, you've got the Digital Course Academy launch happening. And
Yeah.
um, I mean, email is essential for you. I'm guessing that's like where most of your sales come from, right?
Yes. So one thing I teach in Digital Course Academy, one, I teach list building because every course creator needs to know how to get started. So I always start there. But in addition to that, I teach this concept called a pre-launch, which is priming the pump, warming your audience up to whatever it is you're going to sell down the road. And so for me, I'll create a really great freebie related to how to create and launch a digital course. And I'll put that out in advance so that I can give something of great value early on before I ever sell anything. Now people are getting on my email list with this great freebie, and now I'm nurturing them week after week after week, like you said. So when I launch that course, they're excited, they're paying attention, they're the right audience because they came in with a freebie that totally relates to what I want to sell. So this is a strategy I teach all my students, but it is so important to nurture and grow that email list every single day.
Oh, absolutely. So for someone who's like, okay, I'm going to start posting more on Instagram and like I kind of have an idea how to do the social part, but I have no idea where to start with email. Like, how do we get our first email subscriber or like our first 20 email subscribers? What's the
Yes,
easiest way to do that?
I love this question. So number one, you want to set up an email service provider. So which one would you usually recommend?
I use ConvertKit and I love it.
Me too. I don't use it, but I love it. I wish I used it. I started with something many, many years ago and just stuck with it. But
Yeah.
if I was starting over, ConvertKit would
Yeah.
be the email service provider I would choose. They have a free option to get started. So you get ConvertKit and you set up your email service provider. And now you want to create a lead magnet, a freebie. You've got some great ones. I use you as an example in one of my webinars because it's so good. And so you've got to think, where are they right now? Where is the audience that I want to serve? Where are they right now? What are they
Yeah.
thinking about? What are they struggling with? What do they want? And I'm going to create something of free that's super valuable, that they'll be like, yeah, I got to have that. So
Yeah.
you're starting with a freebie and you're putting it out there. You're talking about it every single week on social media. And maybe if you are in different groups, different opportunities, maybe if you get interviewed, you can mention it, but you're getting that freebie out everywhere that it matters over and over again. And that's how you're going to start growing that email list.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I've seen, I have seen so many different beauty businesses and beauty professionals do freebies like this. And so some people might be like, well, what can I make my freebie about? Like, what do people want to learn? Well, essentially, it's like your course topic, figuring out who that person is that is perfect for that course, and then what's one thing that would get them really, really excited that is super simple. So like I've seen ones about if you're teaching a business course for hairstylists about how to, set boundaries and policies and that kind of thing, maybe you could have a freebie with like 5 like copy paste templates to send to email, like to email to clients if they are, not respecting your boundaries, or if you're teaching lashes, like a little freebie guide to how to do like a certain technique or something like that. There's so many like little mini things that you can teach that people will be like, oh my gosh, yes, I've always wondered how to do that. You're giving the free info, and then you're teaching them more about yourself, and then you're bringing them into that journey on your email list.
Yes, absolutely. Your example just reminded me of Hunter. You know Hunter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. And Hunter's one of my students, and I think his handle is Hair by Hunty, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yeah, it
But
is.
the reason I bring him up is he created a digital course essentially around setting boundaries as a hairstylist,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you're not being ran by your clients, but you have a system in place that you feel calm and centered to deliver your services, but not always on the hook and
Yeah.
always like, oh my gosh, everyone's texting me and calling me and appointments here and there. I love what he does, but I bring this up to say, because that's his specialty. He's really good at it. He's not
Mm-hmm.
teaching how to do hair or a technique within styling. He's taking it back to one area that he's really good at, these boundaries, and he created a whole course around it. So anybody that's listening, a lash artist, a makeup artist, a hairstylist, um, a facialist, you have different things you do in your business, different ways you work with your clients, different techniques you use, different ways you set up your office or whatever it might be, your salon. Think about all the different things you do well. You've got a course in there. I always tell my students, everybody has a digital
Oh,
course in,
yeah, yeah.
and you don't need years of certification, tons of years behind the chair. You're already doing something really well that other people don't know how to do. So don't overthink it. You already have a course in you.
Oh, yeah. And that brings me to the last question I wanted to ask you, Amy. I had this feeling myself, and I know you've probably encountered it with all of your students, or many, many of your students, of someone who is interested in doing a course, but they feel insecure and they lack confidence because they look around and they see, oh my gosh, like this person's already teaching that course. Like this person's teaching this, but they've been in the industry for like 10 years more than I have. What would you say to someone who has this like desire in them, but they just can't find the confidence to actually move forward and do it?
Yes, this was me in the beginning. I was really nervous. My biggest fear moving forward was, what will other people think? What will
Mm-hmm.
my peers think? What will my friends and family think? Like they're going to be like, who is she to be doing something like this?
Yeah.
So my good friend Jasmine Starr always reminds me where she did in the early days of like, they're not paying the bills, so it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I love kind of to be jolted back like, oh, really great point. But more importantly, if you look around and you think everyone else is doing what I want to be doing, or this idea I have has already been done. When I came on the scene, I first taught Facebook marketing. Everybody and their mother was teaching social media and Facebook marketing.
Yeah.
So I was not unique at all. However, I kept showing up and I would share my value, and people would see my personality and see how I teach. And I was a good fit for some people. And that's what you need to remember. You are needed in a good fit for some people that want to learn from you, even
Mm-hmm.
though they can learn it from 10 other people. So showing up, this is where social really plays a part. Showing up on social, continuing to give value, you will find the people that gravitate toward you and they want to learn from you, and they don't care who else is teaching it.
Yeah.
So your topic can be taught by 20 different people, but there's no one that's going to teach it quite like you. So
Yeah.
just remember that. And it's actually, I take people through an exercise to how to choose the perfect topic for them and their business. And one of the quadrants I take them through is, are there other courses out there with your topic? That is a good thing. That means people want to pay for what you want to teach. So if you look around and see other people doing what you want, great, you're on the right track.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to like share one of a story from myself if I can, because like we all have our different insecurities. Everybody is insecure about something, and it's very different depending on the person. Some people it's their appearance, some people it's their, their background or their experience, or there's just so many different things. One thing that almost made me give up, that even though I had sold courses, I almost stopped is because I was so insecure. I had this imposter syndrome about the fact that I had never been a beauty professional before. And to most people, it probably sounds stupid or simple, but to me, I literally had nightmares about it because I had this fear that I was building a community of people that literally I didn't know anything about. I was, my background was in marketing. I knew a lot about marketing and Facebook ads, and I had worked with a lot of salons, but I had never been a stylist. I'd never owned a salon. I'd never been an esthetician. And I had this it almost felt like a secret, like rock that was like on my back all the time thinking, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, yes, you know about marketing, but you don't know your community. You don't know your people. They're going to figure it out eventually. They're going to figure out, and I felt like a true imposter, and I cannot express like how heavy that burden was for like years. And then once I start, yeah, exactly. It's not like I went and like got a degree in hair cutting or anything like that. But bit by bit, as I found more and more success, I realized it doesn't matter. Like, no one cares. And I started being more open about it. I wouldn't try to pretend that I had ever been a hairstylist or something before. I was just open about it. And the more I was open about it and I realized that people didn't care and they valued my opinion and they valued my experience despite the fact that I wasn't that exact person, I realized like, I am the only one who cares about this and no one else does. And it has been such a relief that I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like I really don't really give it a second thought anymore.
Because at the end of the day, I'm so glad you brought this up. So at the end of the day, when you teach something in a digital course, you do just like you do not need to be a stylist to be able to teach marketing to stylists. But what you do need is results.
Yes.
And so it's not like you went on the scene, you had 0 results for salon owners or stylists, and you're like, I'm going to teach this. That's not what you did. You already had results for salon owners and stylists, and you packaged that into a digital course to teach how you did what you did. So when you create a digital course, what you're not looking at how many years experience or certifications or anything like that. You just need to have gotten results for yourself or for somebody else. And now in your digital course, you're going to teach the roadmap of how exactly you got those results. You just need to be 10% ahead of those you serve so you can lead them. So that's really where the focus is, and that you have those results so you could teach it in a digital course. And I think that's so important for people to hear.
Oh yeah. And like I said, like that was my insecurity. Everybody has their own insecurities, but if you are finding an excuse for yourself of like, oh, I can't do this because XYZ, there's someone out there with less experience than you, but they have more confidence and they're out there doing it.
Yeah, if you're not going to do it, somebody else will. And if you've got this great idea, I promise you, if you sit on it, someone else is going to put it out there. And you're going to look at it and think, I could have done that so much better. So let's get to it.
Oh yeah. So for anyone who's ready to like jump on it and they're ready to take the next step with you, Amy, your program, Digital Course Academy, is open for enrollment right now. This is the program that changed my life. It got me to where I was. Can you just quickly tell us a little bit about it and what kind of stuff that it can bring to anyone who joins as a student?
So I created Digital Course Academy to offer more freedom, lifestyle freedom, financial freedom, creativity freedom to my students who want to add something extra to their business or step away from what's no longer serving them. So when people come into my course, they have really never created a digital course before, haven't done tons of marketing online. So I virtually hold your hand through the entire process, step by step by step, starting with what kind of course do you want to create, all the way to, okay, here's the emails you send, here's what you post on social, here's how you do a webinar, slide by slide by slide. There is no stone left unturned in Digital Course Academy. But the whole goal is to offer a new way for you to make money so that you can contribute in the ways that you want to. So it's one of my most favorite things I do all year is to open Digital Course Academy. And for 9 weeks, I go through the course with my students. I'm there live in a group. I'm answering questions. I'm very hands-on with it. And the results that we've gotten from Digital Course Academy blow my mind.
Yeah.
And many beauty professionals are in DCA.
Yeah, yes. And I mean, the thing is before I joined Digital Course Academy, when I wanted to join, it wasn't open for enrollment. And so I kind of tried to like figure things out myself, like wing it a little bit. But the thing that changed when I actually joined the program is not just the like, oh, do a webinar, because everybody knows like webinars work. It's like
Yeah.
getting that little bit of a push and getting that confidence boost from you and everybody else that's in the course going through it together of like, yes, this is hard. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, you're going to be uncomfortable, but this is how you get results. And so you push yourself to do it. It's like, we know what we need to do. We just need that extra like hand holding and encouragement in order to actually do it.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Amy. I'm so honored, like I said, that I can finally chat with you and just also like gush to you about how much you've changed my life. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I literally would not be sitting in this like I didn't tell you, but our house is a convent from the 1600s. So like
Oh
I
my
have this
God.
I have this really cool backdrop, but behind it and all around it's like this like kind of like gothic looking like convent. I mean, I literally would not be sitting here if it weren't for you. So thank you for
Okay.
just this experience.
It's so beautiful getting to hear your story and talking to you. And I've seen you do your thing. You keep showing up. You're there. You're present for your community. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. So I'm glad I got to be a little bit part of your journey, but you're living that dream, my friend. You're such a great example of freedom with a digital course. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Okay, thanks so much. Chat with you soon. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.